Claudia Mann. Thank you for being here and welcome to this pre-recorded webinar, Finding Calm Amidst Chaos. To be honest, I have often heard and repeated the phrase, you teach what you need to learn. Learning to find calm has really been a lifetime journey for me, and I suppose that's probably true for many, if not most of us. As we travel our paths of life, we all face challenges that disturb our sense of well-being and peace. The desire to find equilibrium keeps us moving on that path, learning to navigate the rough times, arriving at places of greater understanding of ourselves, our missions in life, and all the individuals who share our journey. So, if this has been a life journey for me, why make this guidebook and webinar right now, you might ask? A special set of circumstances converged to make this my moment in time to teach what I need to learn. I've been practicing this a lot lately. In fact, most of these ideas have gotten a lot of use in the last years. At the same time, it's not been so long since I faced tough times without having the tools that honed my skills and encouraged my growth up to this moment. I haven't forgotten how elusive peace in troubled times can be. Perhaps it's the recent turbulence or simply the awareness through the constant streams of media, social and otherwise, that has revealed the need for leaning into our learning so that we can offer ourselves and the world some tranquility. And so, this webinar is a chance for me to offer a few of the insights that I've gained and the skills that I continue to practice. I expect that most of you who have found your way to it are teachers. You are my community. I appreciate the dedication, caring, and sharing you exhibit every day in your homes and classrooms. I'm grateful for the work you do to allow our children to grow up free of the burdens they carry and that we carry. They, of course, will have their own struggles, but you can be the agent of change that teaches them the calming skills that may have eluded you in your youth. Please reach out to let me know if this was helpful to you. Your words of gratitude or encouragement mean so much to my own processes. If you'd like to financially support the work I do, you'll find a link and a QR code at the end of the webinar and at the end of the guidebook to buy me a coffee. Thank you so much. And now let's get started. Hi, I'm Claudia Mann. I want to thank you for joining this webinar and downloading my guide to Finding Calm Amidst Chaos. Before we dive in, I want to share a little bit of my why for doing this little course. I've been connected to Montessori since I was barely out of my teens. I discovered it when I was still pursuing another career, in music. Eventually, though, my life guided me to Montessori education, and I've been passionately pursuing nearly every aspect of it I can. Passion runs high in Montessori, which can lead to intense moments, days, weeks, and even years. I know that many of you are experiencing less joy in the work, more frustrations with the children and adults, and you may even be contemplating an exodus from the profession. I sincerely hope that you aren't in that place, and am hoping that taking this step to finding calm in your days will help you hang in there through the tough times. While I am prone to storytelling, I won't go there right now. I will only say that I've had my share of rough patches throughout my career. Some were solved successfully, some weren't, and at least one is still hanging out there in the ether, and I don't know whether it will ever have the opportunity for closure. I'd say that for me, it's been more than a 40-year endeavor, so please be patient with yourself. It's not a race, nor a competition. It's a journey. Through all of it, I have learned so much that is serving me in finding a more peaceful life overall. I wish that your Montessori journey, including this little bit of encouragement, will lead to the same outcomes for you. Reading through the guide won't take you more than 15 minutes, if that. But the guide is really just a series of points to inspire reflection. As you read the comments, I hope you'll take a few moments to reflect through journaling how the ideas fit for you. Journaling is a great way to both process in the moment as well as return to your past so you can reflect on your progress. There's no need to hurry through the guide. Take time to try ideas out one at a time to see how they fit or don't. Whatever way you choose to interact with this work, I wish you peace and calm in the process. What is calmness? Before you can find your personal calm, you need to get clear on your personal definition of it. Each of us has our own vision and experience of the word. Calm could bring up an image of smooth as glass water, or of aspens whose leaves flutter silently, almost imperceptibly, in the mountain air. Physical calmness in your body might feel like floating weightless in a warm pool, or like the complete relaxation that comes after physical exertion. As you contemplate your personal definition of calm, consider not only the sensations of calmness in your body, but also the calmness in your thoughts and in your emotions. A mind that resists emptiness can keep you up at night or take you down a path of worry or fear. Painful memories of unresolved conflicts can do the same thing. Once you discover and define calm for yourself, you can practice bringing those feelings to your awareness again and again. Like strengthening a muscle, the more you exercise a calm experience, the more readily it will be available to you. I call this repetition development of your calmness skills. You can learn through trial and error and consistent practice to create feelings of calmness inside yourself, even when everything around you feels chaotic, intense, or out of control. How will you discover and develop strategies that work best for you in the midst of chaos? In this guide, I've included some strategies that have worked for me and for others. Give each of them a try when you're not feeling stressed, to see how they resonate in your body. Take time to assess how successful they are in releasing the thoughts and feelings that may cause you to become tense. By practicing them throughout your non-stressed moments, you'll become familiar with the habit of calming yourself throughout the day. You'll be growing your calming skills so they'll be ready when you need them the most. Finding calm amidst chaos is significant in protecting your state of mind, your mental health, and your physical well-being. As you delve into this work, you may realize that you possess a mindset that doesn't really support your success in becoming calm. You may find that you have beliefs that you have no choice but to react strongly to intense situations. This mindset may be working against your ability to create calm throughout your day. You also may lack awareness of the impact that stress has on your energy, your resilience, or your overall sense of well-being. Do you tend to believe that when you are triggered, that peace and calmness are completely out of your reach? It's my intention to help you shift this thinking to a new mindset, one that assures you that calmness and peace can be your forever choice. With commitment and practice, you'll see that a whole new world of emotional possibilities are available to you. The truth is that you are 100% in charge of how you think and feel at any given moment. Sometimes, when we feel chaos around us, it's because we feel out of control. The reality is that we might be. We can't control other people, whether they be children, adults, friends, or colleagues. No matter what is going on, we're never without the possibility of controlling ourselves. Strengthening our self-control, creating calm, and trusting that it can and will happen is the opportunity of this little course. From page to page, you'll find things you can do to bring about a sense of calmness or peace. You don't have to do them all. In fact, once you settle on your favorites, you can abandon any further suggestions. There's no right or wrong way to find your calm and peaceful place. Simply take your time, allowing your strategies to surface. Be patient with yourself. Acknowledge yourself for committing to this journey of peace and be grateful for your desire to find a new way of showing up in the world. One of my teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, taught that peace is every step. Nearly 20 years ago, I was fortunate to walk silently with him through the campus of CU Boulder. When we began our walk, I thought that he meant that every step was going to be peace-filled. But as we walked, though, my thoughts, they floated from place to place. Some of my challenges surfaced. I became anxious. And the words, peace is every step, came to mean that I could choose peace in every step, even when I was feeling worried or distracted. Gratitude could shift me out of those thoughts and into peace also, when my mind wanted me to go elsewhere. Often, when things begin to go a little haywire around us, the first place we feel it is in our bodies. We might notice our stomachs tightening or our shoulders rising, maybe a headache coming on. I used to notice that I made little fists with my thumbs inside. Then I later learned that this was a way of calming the nervous system, a mudra, as practiced in Ayurvedic medicine. These suggestions I have for calming your body when tension begins are simple. You don't need a lot of complicated things to think about when stress begins. You just need a simple response to stress that can become a habitual response. So first, find your level of comfort. I always had a place in my classroom where I could go sit and take a few deep breaths. It's not uncommon for us teachers to provide a place for the children to calm down, but do you have a place for yourself? My space was a chair in the corner where I could see the entire classroom while I was taking a moment to get calm. I also had a special box that was sitting close by where I could figuratively put my tensions to be dealt with later. I could just look at that box and be assured that this feeling would soon pass. Once seated, I focused on relaxing and loosening up the tense spots. I imagined my tight muscles unwinding. It only took a minute or two. You could provide yourself a sand timer to look at, allowing the grains of sand slipping through to remind you that you're caring for yourself, even in the middle of a challenging moment. Take a breath. The breath is our life force. It lets us know we're alive and helps us expand into the present moment. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, holding it for just a moment before releasing it through slightly open lips, then holding it for a moment again before taking your next breath. You may notice tensions in places in your body that prohibit you from getting a deep, full breath. As you release the air, release the tension and emotions that have risen in response to whatever that situation was that caused you to feel tense. Keeping a gentle smile on your lips throughout this calming moment is another way to reassure yourself that you're creating a calm minute in your day. A smile reminds you that you've got this. Intentional breathing with a gentle smile may be the easiest way to remind yourself that all is well. You could take an inventory of your tense spots. Do you tend to tighten in your tummy? Do you grip with your hands? Do you tense your shoulders or hold your hips? Now just move a little to loosen things up. If you're sitting, begin with your toes. Wiggle them gently within your shoes. Raise your feet by straightening your knees until your lower leg is stretched out in a straight line with your hips. Lower the feet back to the ground and twist at your hips and waist. Gently drop and shake out each arm. Wiggle your fingers. Bring your shoulders all the way up to your ears and release. Do it a couple of times. It feels so good. Roll your head or tilt it side to side and run your fingers through your hair and loosen your scalp. All the while, keep breathing. Alternatively, if you're able to stand or if you happen to be standing, you could do a little bit of gentle shaking. Keep breathing deeply, but wiggle your fingers, then move up to include your arms and let them all shake. You can wiggle your shoulders or begin to bounce gently on your heels and toes. This is a relaxation technique from Qigong that releases stress quickly. Once you've gone through these little movements, you may feel a greater sense of calm. Continue sitting and experiencing this new sensation in your body. Take note of how it feels to give yourself these relaxing moments. Eventually, you may not need to go through this little inventory of your body. You'll just know, I'm tense, I need to sit, release, and relax. Or you may just begin to bounce on your heels while smiling and breathing. Feel the stress of the moment melt away. Always remember to bring a grateful smile to your lips. Smiling creates a sense of well-being and happiness. Enjoy the serenity that you've created for yourself. There are dozens, or maybe even hundreds or thousands of potentially chaotic or frustrating situations that we experience each day. How we deal with them is fully dependent on how we think about them. This step is about getting in touch with your thoughts, your judgments, and your opinions. So this step can be achieved by getting a hold of your brain, working on exercising your thinking, and shifting your thought patterns. This can have a tremendous impact on how peaceful or calm you feel inside. The challenge is trying to figure out how to stop a thought. The best suggestion I've ever learned came from Eckhart Tolle. He taught that when you find yourself having thoughts that you don't wish to have or that you could tell were causing you some tension or stress, was to just think this one simple phrase to yourself. I wonder what my next thought will be. You really can't think about anything in a moment when you're contemplating what you may be thinking of next. And I'll tell you, it really works. Give it a try and keep wondering. Each time you say, I wonder what my next thought will be, you are very present in the moment. If your mind suddenly comes up with an answer, stop and wonder again. I wonder what my next thought will be. Just let that first one go and focus on being in the present, wondering moment. Of course, there are alternatives or additional supports to Eckhart's wondering idea, and you may find one of these a helpful addition to your practice. Many people turn to meditation for calming their thoughts. Unfortunately, when our thoughts are the problem, sometimes meditating is especially difficult. In those times, I find that repeating a mantra helps me to keep my thoughts at bay. Mala beads can help you stay focused on the repetition, keeping your mind centered. One of my students made me a beautiful set of meditation mala beads that not only keep me mentally on track, but also are soothing to the touch. The feeling of the beads going through my fingers is so calming, in fact, that even when I'm not meditating, having those beads nearby to run across my fingertips in a tense moment can bring a sense of peace. There's one particular kind of thought that can have a most detrimental impact on our sense of well-being and calm, our judgments. Judgments can be problematic in so many ways. If we're judging ourselves with ideas like, I shouldn't have lost it, or I'm really a mess, or there's something wrong that I can't stay focused when I'm meditating. Well, these kind of thoughts work against our ability to achieve peace and calm. When your judgmental thoughts come up, try to accept them. Become an observer of the fact that you're sitting there meditating or breathing or having just yelled at someone. Accept that your thoughts are passing through like little clouds floating by and moving on. You don't need to give them any more importance or power than that. Being present in a moment requires us to accept every moment. Acceptance can be a source of peace and calmness inside our bodies. If we practice non-judgment and acceptance in every moment, it can help us move through our days with a greater sense of peace. Are you ever surprised at how a situation is impacting your sense of well-being? Do you find yourself wondering why you were triggered by an unexpected event or something that wouldn't normally cause you to become upset? Contemplating unexpected reactions can help us make decisions about how we'll respond in the future. But equally helpful is becoming aware of situations ahead of time and choosing how we'll approach them before they happen. Remember, it's how we think about situations that make them feel difficult or hard. Let's take a look at a couple of common situations that can lead to chaos and stress in our lives, especially as teachers. One of the biggest challenges to our sense of calmness can be the relationships in our lives. There are family and friends, and then teachers. As teachers, there are our colleagues and, of course, our students. When we find ourselves in the midst of a challenging relationship, we have to remember some of the things that we've already considered. First, and probably most important, is that you are responsible for how you feel. That means that when someone else's behavior triggers a feeling for you, no matter what they said or did, those feelings are the feelings that live inside of you. It doesn't just have to be a negative feeling either. It could be anger or frustration, just as likely as it could be love or joy. The other person is helping make you aware of the feelings that exist inside of you. And that is something for which you can be truly grateful. I can imagine, though, if you're thinking of a difficult relationship in your life, you may be rolling your eyes and thinking to yourself, that's crazy. But hear me out. If you are triggered and not owning those feelings as rooted in a source inside of you, then you're blaming the situation or the other person for your feelings. How can that be? Besides that, why would you want to be in that predicament, being a victim of another person's actions? Imagine how frustrated you'd feel to have your emotions be dictated by the whims of another. Unfortunately, that's exactly what happens when we hold another person accountable for how we're feeling or reacting. We become a victim, living in a place of helplessness, lacking power over our feelings and in conflict over what to do in response. Instead, you can see how these feelings of yours are distracting you from your own sense of peace, power, and calm. Set aside time away to gather yourself, to help yourself take responsibility, to work through the triggers you're experiencing. Taking space to clear your head can do a world of good for your achievement of peace and calm. Likewise, distractions can be another major source of chaos in our lives. They mess with our plans, our determination, and our ability to implement our ideas. This can really suck the life right out of us. In our teacher lives, we are bombarded with questions, disruptions from resource personnel, parent needs, or the almost constant flow of interruptions on our phones. Keeping records electronically can keep us tethered to a device for a lot of the hours of our day. With all of this, we can feel as if there's not a moment of peace to be had. Well, actually, there's a lot we can do about that, though. We can put our phones away. We can set aside time to deal with record keeping and discipline ourselves to stick with our plans. We often can't control the interruptions from the various humans that are in our lives, but we can choose to take a moment here and there throughout the day to sit down for just 2 or 3 minutes and observe, not in a formal way, but in a taking a break way. In my short course, 21 Days to Observation That Rejuvenates, I teach a process that you can share with your students that encourages taking short mental health breaks to get calm and refocused throughout our busy lives. As teachers, it is critical that we not hold a child or a colleague responsible for our feelings. Doing so can lead to all sorts of troubling reactions, like forcing a child against their will, or insisting on completion of tasks, or suffering imposed consequences like loss of recess or learning choices. With adults, it can damage the collegial relationships so much that working together becomes unpalatable. Uncomfortable relationships can ripple out to impact others on the staff or the children, even resulting into taking sides or job loss. None of us come to teaching to experience any of these sidebars, but I've seen them happen time and again when individuals fail to own their feelings and their actions. It is far easier to take responsibility for your emotions and your responses to those emotions at the get-go than to try to repair or heal from the pain once a relationship is damaged. Remember when we talked about breaking the habit of thinking things are hard? Situations and relationships are only hard if we think they're hard. If you can shift your "it's hard" mindset to wondering or curiosity, you'll find that there's nothing inherently difficult about any particular situation. Situation labeled as sad, angering, frustrating, joyful, or peaceful only fit those labels as applied by the person perceiving them. During these moments, take time to breathe, to remember that this moment will pass, and to stay curious about the circumstances so you can stay out of the chaos. I've labeled this particular chaos inducer addiction to deadlines. I really began to notice the challenges I have with procrastination when I stopped my 9-to-5 and became self-employed. At that point, I was completely and entirely responsible to myself and the work I planned each day. I noticed that sometimes not just hours or days, but weeks and even months would go by without fulfilling an intention. I realized that the performance aspect of having a job and needing to do a quality piece of work for my employer or my students sort of kept me more accountable. Procrastination really set in once I was my own employer. Then other issues resulting from the procrastination began to impact my sense of myself. I had to understand what was happening to me. So I made investigations over several years, helping me understand both the underlying issues and why I was procrastinating. I realized that I had thrived on the pressure that came from being a professional musician. I was often required to perform at my highest levels, not just under the pressure of the moment, but also under the pressure of perfection. Comfort with that level of pressure probably came from an earlier time in my life when parents or teachers held high expectations of me. But the pressure of performance that held comfort for me, and deadlines became the new pressure when my performing days were behind me. Deadlines gave me the adrenaline of the moment that pushed me past a resistance to completion for fear of not living up to the expectations. I know I am a recovering pressure junkie, but I also know that the lack of peace that comes from a need for pressure is not the kind of calm existence that I want to cultivate in my life. As you contemplate the chaos creators of time, deadlines, and a desire to meet them, you might consider how much the interruptions and distractions are impacting your sense of order and peace. When we're able to manage the pressures of time and expectations, completing our daily tasks in a way that helps us experience spaciousness, we are empowering ourselves to include a commitment to calm and peace as equally important as tasks on our must-do list. These are 3 of the most common beliefs or thought patterns that keep us stuck in the chaos of procrastination and last-minute pressure. Take a long look at each of them and see how they relate to you. First, I work best under pressure. Do you really? Or is that the adrenaline talking? Do you like the feeling of accomplishing a task after working up to the last moment? Does the rush of the pressure make you feel powerful and like you can do anything? Mind your beliefs around your performance under pressures. Second, what are the hidden messages from a tendency to procrastinate? Do you know the fears or worries, the imposter syndrome or fear of failure that can sneak in and keep you from staying on track? There are excuses disguised as reasons that you might use to let yourself off the hook of accountability. They can give you clues that lead to overcoming the habit of putting things off. And lastly, available time. When my students used to say they didn't have time to finish something, I would ask them to think about the classmates who always seemed to be finished on time, or who had plenty of time to choose projects that they wanted to do. I asked those not enough time students if they had less time than their peers who seemed to always have plenty of time to do anything that they wanted. The answer was always the same. No, we all have exactly the same amount of time. So then, what is keeping you from completion? The reality began to sink in. It's how I use my time. The next part of the process is sorting out your time choices and what you allow to distract you. These three challenges can become the chaos that causes any of us to feel anxious, irritable, overwhelmed, or even depressed. You can sort them out and discover new ways of enjoying calm or peace as you navigate your days. When I first encountered Montessori classrooms, I was deeply impressed by the intentionality of the prepared environment. Just walking into the space felt calm, even when it was filled with children engaged in a variety of activities, even when there were children crying or screaming. The adults and the space held all the emotions in a way that felt orderly. My senses were not overwhelmed by extraneous information. To create calm in your environment, take an inventory of the things that fill the space. Is it orderly? Is there room on the shelves between the materials? Is there clutter in the corners? Is the active work area spacious or cramped? The spaces that we surround ourselves with can be a great source of peace or of chaos. Each of us has a different sort of tolerance or even appreciation for a room that's very busy with things to see and hear. And you need to create a space that feels calm and peaceful for both you and all the people with whom you share the space. It will impact everyone's sense of calm. And what other sensory inputs are present? Is there sound? Are there fragrances, colors, or different temperatures? Which of these communicates calmness to you and your co-inhabitants in the space? You can design your environment for calm and peace by activating all your senses. A cozy observation chair with a soft blanket, perhaps? A spritzer of essential oils to enliven your nose. Gentle music once everyone has arrived and started working. You can choose to treat your senses to calm or chaos by the environment you choose to create. I hope that through this short guidebook and webinar, I've been able to share some ideas about how you can bring calmness or peace into every aspect of your day. Sometimes creating calm is as simple as being aware of what influences your inner feelings. The calmness that you seek already lives inside of you. You simply need to find it and repeat. You can create and maintain a sense of calm even when the world does not feel like a place that supports it. Feel free to print out some of the pages of this little ebook and use the infographic here on this page to guide you through possibilities for creating peace in the moment. Hang up the printed page where you can see it throughout your day. Just a quick glance will remind you of something you can do to bring calm into your life right now. All you have to do is choose to do it. Thank you for taking your time to participate in this webinar. I I hope you found some tips you can put into practice right away for finding calm amidst chaos. If you'd like to go deeper into this work, I have a special opportunity for you. I've created a bundle of 3 courses from my bank of classroom resources on the website www.claudiamann.org. The Calm in Your Classroom bundle offers 3 courses regularly priced at $97.95, but at a bundle price of just $50. That's nearly 50% off. Each course, led by 3 educators who've been teaching and practicing their craft for over 35 years each, gives you practical applications and how-to strategies for creating calm and peaceful behaviors exactly when you need them the most. First, there is Finding Calm in a Montessori Classroom. It's presented by Kristen Richter Brown. This is the perfect course to take you more deeply into calming practices. Included with her workshop is a downloadable material introducing mandalas and sacred circles to your students. It's 3-part cards with beautifully photographed mandalas, descriptions of each of them, and labels. Next is Living a Yoga Mindset, offered by Kari Shine. I've had the good fortune of working with Kari since the very beginning of her Montessori teaching journey. From her training summers at CMTE, New York, to working together as staff at the Montessori School in Albuquerque, New Mexico, to inviting her to join the CMTE New York staff at our Phoenix satellite training in 1995, I have watched Kari's graceful and attentive manner help children blossom. I wasn't surprised when I learned that Kari had incorporated her own yoga practice and yoga mindset into her classroom work. Included with this course are 3 wonderful resources you won't want to miss. First, a guided lesson plan to demonstrate how to connect classroom academic activities to grounding practices with your students. Second, a template for you to use to plan your own classroom connections. And third, a 5-minute grounding meditation that you can use on your own or with your class. Lastly, I'm including my own course, 21 Days to Observation That Rejuvenates. This is a course designed to shift your thinking about how to accomplish observation while taking short mental health breaks each and every day. Observation is the foundation of Montessori education, but it is also the foundation of forming positive relationships and understanding in the children and adults in our lives. Less a course than a short daily reminder and inspiration, 21 Days to Observation That Rejuvenates identifies how to make the most of the observations you do 24/7 so you can feel empowered in your experimentation, successful in your conclusions, and calm and peaceful, rejuvenated in your daily classroom or homeschool life. Here's what's included in my 21-day mini course. First, daily short audio inspiration to help you stick to your intentions around observation and self-care. Second, printable resources to create an observation notebook that helps you obtain and assess pertinent data in a timely, organized, and meaningful way. And lastly, a printable guidebook to download that can be inserted into the notebook of your choice. It will guide you in how to create a rejuvenating observation practice that will feel more beneficial in its outcomes for both your students and you. You'll have a year's worth of access to all 3 of these courses, and the downloads are yours to keep forever. With boatloads of simple to implement ideas and this great price, you can't afford to give up the peace that awaits in your future.